the hardest thing to spark as a creative producer is getting yourself into that song where you're like hooked and you're just powering out through it. And then there's days where you're just slamming your head into the keyboard and nothing you're doing is working. And you just got to like learn to step away and, have that healthy relationship with creating.
Hey guys, before we get started, just wanted to let you guys know there's a little bit of audio issues in this episode. On the first 20 minutes, some of the audio gets a little bit distorted very slightly, so it might be a little bit different than the audio quality you're used to hearing on this show. Want to apologize about that. After the first 20 minutes, it gets completely smoothed out. So if you stick through it, it'll get better. All right, back to the show. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and hope you enjoy it. What's up, party people, and welcome to another episode of Esports and Content Creators. This week is episode 8. I'm your host, and my name is Chillrogg. If this is your first time here, Esports and Content Creators is a show about the people behind the gaming industry. Each week, we invite a creator or esports professional and discuss with them what inspired them to get started, where they are in their career now, and their vision for the future of gaming. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Sidkitten. Sidkitten, what's up?
Hey guys, I'm Sidkitten. Nice to be here.
And this week we are especially fortunate to be joined by Kompany Music. Kompany is an absolutely massive bass music producer. He was signed by the notable British record label Never Say Die in 2017. As of now, he has over 6 albums out and has completed more international tours than we can count. Recently, Kompany's music has enjoyed an even bigger boost in popularity. And this increase was actually covered by an exclusive Forbes article earlier. Thanks so much for joining us, dude. How are you doing today?
Good, man. I'm feeling great. Got a lot of energy. Just finished a nice workout and ate like 2,000 calories of chicken.
That's awesome. So people might be wondering, this is really cool you have a dubstep artist on, but what's the connection with gaming here? So a little known fact about Kompany is in his off time, Kompany is a really big gamer. And we actually met playing Heroes of the Storm, of all things. Kompany was playing some Cassia, if I remember, on Towers of Doom, and he was tearing it up. It was really cool. So I guess, like, how'd you get started in gaming? It's such a different thing, like music, career, and then gaming on the side.
It definitely all branches together in some way. I've always been a very competitive personality when it comes to anything where I can push myself, whether it was like skateboarding, playing the drums, obviously producing music, anything with a high skill cap. Like I'm always kind of obsessed with pushing myself almost to an unhealthy degree. I found a better balance with that recently, but I've always gamed like a ridiculous amount since, middle school, even elementary school. Like I had a PlayStation, I would just play a lot more casually, but it's always been a huge part of my life. Like World of Warcraft in middle school, I have just a shameful amount of hours played.
That's so awesome.
At some point, like when I got into more competitive, like shooter games and stuff, I took that turn of like, really wanting to play just next level good. And like, I just get super addicted to those kind of games. So like, I don't know. It's always just been one of my favorite hobbies, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Like an outlet kind of to unwind. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, personally, like I definitely felt like a little outcastish in high school. Like I was like into the skater crowd, but none of them like gamed. So they would always give me like a hard time about, being a nerd and stuff like that. So like it definitely was a good escape from like the harsh reality of, high school and the time that I went. Like people were savage. Like it was crazy. So like I loved World of Warcraft for that reason. Like I definitely would play like until like 5 a.m. just every day. So
I was definitely there too. I was like in high school, like at night or like on the weekends, if nothing was going on, I would just like game, like whatever, like all the like troubles away or like that kind of stuff, like a little like outlet.
Well, was there anything better than like bringing your rig to a friend's house and like pulling that all-nighter when you got to like landing? Like that's like peak serotonin of gaming right there. Like you can't recreate that anymore.
I had not heard about that before. That's
Oh,
the
the
thing
LAN.
people do? Like, you, like, pick up your entire, like, setup and you, like, go to your friend's house?
Absolutely, whether it was,
Wow,
like,
that's intense.
even stuff like Guitar Hero, like, I got on the
Yeah.
top 20 leaderboard for the Dragon Force DLC content. Like,
Wow.
I can't casually game, like, I have to be, like, checking the leaderboards. What can I do to get higher? What can I do to be that next thing? Which is, like, how we linked up is, like, you gave me, like, coaching and HOTS, you know,
Yeah.
like, stuff like that. Like, what can I do to get better? But, there was even, like, a gaming lounge here in Temecula where I'm staying called, XPC, and they would do these all-nighters on the weekends, even when I was in middle school, and it was, like, one of my favorite things, just going locking out, playing Counter-Strike, WoW, like, Warcraft 3, just eating Snickers bars at 5 in the morning to stay awake, like, ridiculous stuff like
That's the
that.
That's
best.
awesome. So did it start with World of Warcraft for you?
That was the big one. That was my first, like,
Mhm.
big addiction, but, I loved, like, the Warcraft 3 custom games.
Yes.
But when it comes to, like, full blown, like, my deep dive into a game, like, it was definitely World of Warcraft, and I wasn't, like, gaming at peak potential, I was just vibing, like, just playing and grinding and
At
enjoying it.
peak potential.
Yeah, now it's like I have to meta game, like, always, but back then it was just, like, it was bliss. I don't know how else
Yeah.
to explain
Yeah.
it.
Questing, chilling, doing some
Yeah.
dungeons. Yeah. Got some
Now
music
I'm
in the
like, "I gotta
background.
parse, I gotta be in the top." I don't know,
Yeah.
it's such a different mentality,
Parse.
I
I
don't
haven't
know.
heard that word in so long. That brings back memories.
Yeah.
How
So,
did you get
oh, sorry.
started in World of Warcraft? Like, how, like, did somebody introduce you to that, or was it kind of like your own, like, tinkering around?
It was actually when I was going to that, gaming PC, like, LAN
Oh,
area, and
mhm.
I was, like, playing other games, and I saw someone, like, playing I remember it so specifically too, it was, like, a Tauren something character, and he was, like, dead, like, running to his corpse, and I was like, "W" I just saw someone else playing, and I was like, "That looks sick. Like, what is this game?" And, like, begged my parents to buy it for me, and I think I just it was a struggle because my computer couldn't run it even, like, at lowest
Uh,
settings, like, I just had, like, just a
Yeah.
garbage rig, so I had to go to the XPC place and, met a lot of really cool friends there that I still am in touch with, so stuff like that is really cool, like, gaming has always been one of those things, whether I'm, like, playing with a fan or, like, you know, meeting fans online, like, I feel like I connect with those people really quick, and, like, I've had a bunch of people, like, I played Fortnite with or something back in the day that I'll, play something in their city, and I'll bring them backstage and just give them the experience that I can, like, I love doing that for people, so, definitely make a lot of connections through gaming like that, which I really love.
Aw, and it's like a different type of relationship when you meet somebody like gaming, because it's like you're a team and you kinda, like, get to know each other, and it's like a long-term type of thing, so you really do build these, like, deep connections with people rather than, like, if you're doing, like, other stuff like IRL.
Yeah, absolutely, you're just, like, having fun too. It was the same thing with, like, whatever crew you would go and, like, skate with or whatever would be something I'm could relate to back in high school, like, it's like you're really clicking, you're all riding the same wave, you're just having fun together, and it's like, you know, making good memories.
Mhm.
so I have to ask about the Warcraft 3 custom games. That was like my jam back in the day, like 2004, 2003. What do you Line Tower Wars, Winter Mall? Like which
Oh,
ones?
yeah. Big Winter Mall guy.
Winter Mall was
I
the
love,
best.
like, building those mazes, Hero Line Wars. I
Yeah.
never was really good at, like, anything that required a lot of micromanagement. I liked more, like, strategy, like,
Hmm.
building these mazes and stuff like that, but I loved all of that kinda stuff.
Did you get
I know,
into?
like,
Oh,
Dota was big too, but I never got
I was
into
gonna ask.
Dota, like
Yeah, Dota. So like Dota, for anyone who doesn't know, is the precursor to like League of Legends and Dota 2, and that's where the name comes from and all that. And that was in Warcraft 3. But that was a try hard for that time, I feel like. It was like 2004, 2003. Everyone's just
Yeah.
trying to like chill and be like 12 and like not get stressed out yet.
Yeah, I loved the Winter Mall War stuff, like,
Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm.
Super fun, like, and so satisfying, like seeing these wave of minions come in and just like all exploding and like you're getting coins from it and stuff. It's just like more, more, more.
So
I
fun.
feel like so many like free to play apps built off of those kind of structures where it's like so satisfying, you know, seeing all these things explode and you're getting XP and like all this. It's like dopamine release.
Yes. So after Warcraft 3, was that when you went into World of Warcraft? Did you hit anything in between there?
Yeah, I'd say it was around the same time, like definitely a little before World of Warcraft, but it all kind of just blends together, you know. I'm constantly still to this day like hopping from game to game and like, you know, just looking for something that's going to strike my interest like that, and I'll like revive an old game that I played. Like there's so many times I've gotten back into those Warcraft custom games, like my old roommates and I got obsessed with that Bourbonog tower defense and like we were just like solo it and then beat it as two people and like we're like doing all corners, like stuff like that's fun. And I'll occasionally like play tower defense stuff on flights and stuff like that. But
did you play Reforged?
I don't think I didn't actually end up getting that. And
It was
my
garbage
roommate,
anyway.
yeah, I heard it was not great. So
Yeah.
you know, I always have feelers out for like what game is popping off. Like I just started playing Valheim. I really like it.
Okay.
But I'm always kind of seeing what people are, you know, enjoying playing and try it out for myself.
Was there a time where you like flipped the switch from like, you know, like 13-year-old Kompany just vibing and chilling to like, all right, now it's serious? Was there like a game or like a moment?
Well, my problem was, like I said, I take that kind of stuff like way too seriously. I think when I started playing like COD 4, you know, like
Yeah.
the
Was that Modern Warfare?
like, what's that?
Was that Modern Warfare? Which one was that?
I think it was the first Modern Warfare where they had like the
I remember that one.
M403 ACOG, like, and I got into quick scoping and like, you know, and then I just started like raging at, at games like that, and I was like, wow, I do take stuff like this really seriously. And I think probably around when I started playing shooters online was when something just clicked and I got a little more like competitive, but I still really would enjoy like that trip to Blockbuster. This like makes me feel so boomer, but like going to Blockbuster and like getting a single player game and like beating it in the week before you return it. And like I feel like I don't play as many of those kind of games anymore because I love that competitive aspect of, you know, how well can I compete against other people? Like I want to be better than other people at this.
Yeah.
So who do you main in Valorant?
Valorant, I played for a bit. I was maining Jet, and I didn't get like too into it, but it was one of those games like right when I built a PC, I hopped on because a bunch of my friends were playing it, was having a really good time, and then I started getting into like harder lobbies and was like, like, I'm good on this. Like this is one of those games that's gonna trigger me. So
Yeah. We were just playing Valorant earlier today, and there's like a guy with like 40 kills, and I'm like 6 kills down here. I was like,
he's
okay,
smurfing. He's
Smurf.
smurfing.
I can't.
Yeah,
Smurf.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm a little bit curious too. Like, so when did the music come into the picture? Like was it when you were very young or?
I'd say when it came into the picture was like, you know, something that really sparked the initial like passion for electronic stuff was kind of kicked off from my older sister, you know, showing me Rusco and Dead Mouse and stuff, and it was really captivating to me. And I always kind of looked up to the stuff that she would show me because she was always on like edgier, like up and coming stuff that wasn't as popular. And I obviously was like super into that. And then I got put onto Skrillex, and it was like game over at that point. Like I was that annoying kid that when you're in my car, it's like, dude, this song right here, and like we're listen to this drop, and like you know, just like being overly annoyingly pushy with like stuff like that. And then I like ended up going to my first festival, and it was just like after that I was like, I want to do this. I want to DJ.
Wow.
Bought like some cheap mixer, made a bunch of really bad mixes in my bedroom, just messing around, like got some local shows. It's like a really condensed version of kind of how it all happened
Yeah.
from the ground up, played a local show, sold a bunch of tickets. They were like, "Yo, you did really well for this. Do you want a shot at main stage?" Played main stage and was like, "This is it. This is my career. I'm gonna make it happen no matter what." Sold my car so that I could go to this music production school in Hollywood called Icon Collective and like
Wow.
just put in insane hours, like got a vitamin D deficiency, lost all my weight, like really bad stuff
Wow.
just to get those hours in on production. And by the time I graduated, it was a full-time job.
Hmm. That I feel like there's like a ton of like confidence there in that like story you told. Like a lot of big moves you made. Were you sure you could do it? Were you nervous at the time?
I mean, I know it's like a shot in the dark, and even like, going to Icon Collective where there's all these like aspiring, driven young producers who are like, doing the same thing. I want to take this shot. I want this to be, what I do for a living. It's a dream, like people chasing their dream. And even out of the, class of 300, 400 people that were going in the same year as me, like 4 or 5 of them maybe are doing this like full time, supporting themselves, like touring, all that. So it's definitely like not something that's just gonna happen for everyone. You have to like go to that unhealthy level of like exhausting yourself to the point of no return, like putting that whatever, like I don't know if you've seen this phrase, like you got to put in like 1,000 hours into something to like
Yeah.
master it and make those improvements. But I really just didn't mind this endless grinding because it kind of ties back to that like what I was saying earlier is like I was obsessed with improvement and growing, and I loved that there's just this endless skill cap to production. Like you're never going to be satisfied. And I love that growth. And I love like learning this and like, oh, there's this new plugin that's more info for me to just absorb. And I just became the sponge of like, writing every genre I could just to, put myself out of my comfort zone. And there's a lot of different things you can do to make it happen, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to just like if you're down to put in the endless grinding and you're okay with that long-term commitment of like, I have to do this to improve and like knowing what you're signing yourself up for, it at the end of the day, you won't be able to do it if you're not like incredibly passionate about it. So it just came back to my like initial love for performing and like that adrenaline rush I got on stage the first couple of times like was a really big driving factor for me.
Wow. That was so powerful. I feel like that was just like a general like clip on how to succeed at anything in life. Like that was
Yeah,
Literally
I,
just
I,
did that. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I love it. It's something that I also applied like recently. Like I took drum lessons for, like 5 or 6 years when I was in high school around that area. And like it felt like a chore to me at the time, but now that I'm like reigniting, playing drums, it's a lot more like, you know, like production for me where it's like, what's my weakest link? And then taking that like paradiddles. Okay, I'm going to practice this 2 hours a day until my hands are bleeding with blisters because like this is what I need to improve. I like to think of like anything that I'm trying to learn or accomplish as like a big like body of armor, and then assessing it like where's my weakest point in this body of armor and then strengthening that, because a lot of people when they're producing like to do what they're good at that
Mm.
makes them feel good when they're accomplishing something, and they could like really suck at like mixing or mastering, and they kind of like avoid it because it makes them feel like not as good of a producer, when it's like tackle that, like
Yeah.
this is where you're going to improve the most because you have the most room for growth rather than like plateauing on something that you're really enjoying doing. You got to find like that really good balance in between, I think.
Yeah, and like Chill was saying, we are actually talking about this earlier. How I feel like people think things just like happen, but it's like there's a lot of things like behind the scene that like gets you to where like you are. Like Chili Mountain didn't like just happen, you know. There's like a lot of things like going on behind the scenes and like to like build it up and whatnot and like spending the time grinding. So it's
Yeah.
really impressive because like we know what that's like, you know. So it's nice that you're like actually putting that into words and being like, yeah, no, I put in the time, like my hands were blistering, blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get
Realistic,
it.
realistic expectations. Like
Yeah.
people do love, to grow quickly, and a lot of people that were, paying this ridiculous amount of money to go to Icon, I feel like we're looking for that shortcut, you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and there's shortcuts for certain things, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's all gonna come down to that hard work and hours put in.
Wow. Huh, okay, that was really good. So, what do you like now that you're here and now that you made it, this far and you've come like so far in your career? Like, it's really funny. Like, me and Kompany were playing some games, and everyone in the group is like laughing and having a good time. And then Kompany's like, "Wait, hold on one sec, guys. Forbes is calling me. They want an interview." And I'm just like, "Holy shit!" Like, it's so crazy. Where do you go from here? Are you like, what are you looking forward to, or like, what's the next thing on your list?
I mean, obviously, I'm really, really excited to get back out there to hit these festivals up and like, planning my first big headline tour. Obviously, like more international plays, just broadening my spectrum of music that I'm creating and releasing, and just, like just following like it kind of naturally, and like, focusing a lot on myself and my relationship with music and, creativity in general, because creative work as a living, it can be really scary because you'll go in these 6-month ruts of like, oh, like I have no ideas. I can't write music right now. Like, am I going to be able to do this anymore? Like, am I done? Is this it? Like, stuff
Wow.
like that happens. But, the same thing. Like, I would love to just keep touring and like step it up, play bigger and bigger festivals, bigger and bigger rooms, work with a lot of my favorite artists. There's so many things I'm excited for. Um, but yeah, the main thing I'd say is getting back out there and performing again. I'm doing like these drive-in shows and these like socially distanced, like
Mm.
That's cool.
blocked out shows, but like nothing beats having the crowd in your face and like the energy. Like it's one of my favorite things, and I hope I never lose the passion for performing and like matching that energy the crowd gives back. Like it can't even be put into words for me, honestly.
Would you say you're more of like an extrovert or an introvert?
Definitely a bit of both. I have like crazy introverted sides of me where I kind of like, avoid going out. Like I don't really go to bars, or like I do get anxious from social events, but then there's the side of me like at shows, like I really want to meet my fans and go do meet and greets and like love, seeing all my friends and stuff like that. But I'd say I'm somewhere in the middle, but I definitely have more introvert qualities at the end of the day. Like quarantine has been super chill for me because I love sitting in my studio all day.
Yeah,
So
us too.
what have you been doing during quarantine? I know some artists have been doing like virtual stuff and like you mentioned like the pod stuff. So has it been overall like a good experience for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been so many up and ups and downs during quarantine, but I've played my small handful of those drive-in shows, but like it's just it's a period of time where I can get back into that mindset of just grinding and like putting those extra hours into producing. And I found myself making some big level ups in my quality of music, and I've had a lot of time to hang on Discord with friends and game, and like that's been a majority of what I'm doing is music, video games, and as of like 2 months ago, I got like ridiculously back into fitness because I used to actually like, aspire to be a personal trainer and
Oh.
would train like crazy, and studied kinesiology for 2 years. So I'm really passionate about fitness as well, and really stoked that I reignited that recently, and have made a bunch of lifestyle changes like quarantine and COVID sucks big time, but I feel like it was the most improvement I've made on myself in close to a decade.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
Do you mean like fitness wise or like in general, kind of like the whole package?
Fitness wise, mental health wise, music wise, just general happiness wise. Like not to get like too personal or weird, but I've like
Nice.
since middle school I've struggled with bipolar and depression, and like, finally took that leap of getting professional help, therapy, psychiatrist, like, and it's just been like, I think the pivoting point of when I was just truly like experienced just happiness again, and just feeling like a healthy human. Just stuff like that has been probably the biggest thing for me lately.
That's so awesome. Wow.
And
Do
I
you,
have heard that a lot actually recently with like quarantine, that people are like starting to feel like happy again, like just like in life in general, because it's like forced everybody to kind of like pause and like reset, you know? And
Uh-huh.
I've like definitely experienced that, like where I'm like fit and then I go through my unfit phase of quarantine and then I'm like fit again. So right now I'm like in the fit phase. But there's definitely been like those highs and lows or whatever. But that is like a recurring theme that we're like seeing. So out of all the like obviously bad, it does seem like for some people it's been good to just kind of like put a pause on like IRL, you know?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people going through that exact same thing, and I actually got really inspired from my friend Jimmy, AFK. He's another artist, we've like toured with, great friend of mine, super nice dude, was like really struggling with like borderline alcoholism, and like had like some skin disorder like going on. Like he was like, looking like he was peeling and red all over the place. And like he just had this insane like glow up where he just looks like incredibly healthy, like he's looking fit. And like I saw that and I was like looking at myself and just like I got down to like 138 pounds. Like I was like
wow.
skin and bones, like giant bags under my eyes, felt miserable, just chronic fatigue day in, day out, not able to digest a single meal because of how bad my anxiety was tied to my stomach. Like I was just like miserable.
Mhm.
Like I was convinced I had like some sort of stomach cancer. I'd been misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease. And as of like 2 months ago, I've gained like almost 15 pounds back. I'm just feeling incredible. So like, I think having that opportunity in time where I'm not touring and I have like no real, responsibilities lately, that I can just go hard and reflect on myself and just, you know, be the best person I can be right now.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wanna get that Go XLR though, because like on my MacBook, I could do loop back and like route my audio through Ableton and do like funny voices and stuff, and I just can't
Yeah.
figure it out on Windows.
It's nice in the Go XLR. They have this free one too, this like voice modifier. Um wait,
For Windows?
for Windows. I have it. Wait, hold on. It's called Voice Mod actually.
Oh, okay, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's like $30. It's not that bad.
Might have to cop.
Have you played D&D before?
No, but I know I would be obsessed with it. Like,
Yeah.
I really want to, and I have a friend of mine that plays over, like, Discord, every week or 2, and I've been, like, really dying to get into that. I love, like, stuff like that, so I think I would be a huge fan.
Oh my god, we have
I
to
was gonna
do that.
say.
We know the best GM, Gabe James Games. We actually had him on the podcast, but he works for Roll20. They're like the D&D, like,
Yeah.
yeah, so he's like the best GM, and
He's
we did
insane.
like a Chili Mountain D&D like session with him, and it was insane. Like just his like speaking voice is like really like impressive, I feel like, or it just like it has like a presence, you know?
Yeah, that's the tone
So,
really well.
yeah, so then him, like, actually being like, or whatever, it's like, it was awesome.
It's
And then
crazy.
somebody else, that was on the, like, session with us, March and Bob, he was using the, like, voice changer thing, and I could not stop laughing, like, every time he would say something because the voice was just, like, so ridiculous, like, I could not, like, take it seriously. So,
It sounds
yeah.
so fun.
Yeah. He would
I
say
definitely got to try it.
he would say like the most innocuous things. He'd just be like, "Oh, like has anyone seen my like wallet?" And then it would be this crazy like evil voice of like a demon.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Yeah. So okay, so also you stream on Twitch. So on top of all of this, you know, you're doing this fitness stuff, you're gaming, you're doing incredible shows, tours, all this stuff. You're streaming on Twitch on the side. That's really cool. How'd you first get into Twitch?
I got into Twitch early on in my music career, like, which is great that I had like that foot in before quarantine, because you know, like that's when everyone started streaming, like music wise, like production streams, like, you know, these virtual shows, all of that. But
Yeah.
I worked for this sample pack company called Somatics that was just massive back in 2015, 2016, when there wasn't this like influx of sample packs. So basically we create like drums and sounds for other producers to like
Oh, cool.
use in their production. And I would like, you know, craft these kits for them or whatever. And they were really early on in the music production side of Twitch. So I've always been kind of good at you know, talking production wise and just communicating in general and like breaking things down and making them absorbable, you know. So I was like making songs from scratch or, you know, showing people how to make bass growls and stuff like that. So I got into it really early on and was even like making YouTube content for Icon Collective as a graduate for them. Like they put me on as like a staple, you know, sound designer. Like, this is our graduate, he's killing it, which was really cool. So yeah, I really like it. I still am like really sporadic with it. Like I'm not set on a schedule like I should be, but I I, I kind of do it like it's similar to my relationship with creativity. Like I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna put myself in this situation where I'm gonna stress myself out or tie myself to any schedule. But when I'm like, I'll just wake up one day and be like, it's a good day to stream. Let's do it, and I'll pop up like a music production stream or something.
Hmm. That's so
And
cool.
yeah, that's important too when you're streaming because you have to be like in the right mindset to have like a good stream. You're like interacting with viewers, and sometimes they can be like aggressive or something. You just have to be like in the right mindset to like deal with that and like be good like live.
Yeah, it used to be one of those things too that would trigger my anxiety, and like whenever my anxiety would get triggered, like I would get all these stomach issues like out of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
I had to take an important phone call and like my upper intestines would like inflate to the point where I couldn't absorb nutrients or like
Wow.
digest a meal. So like luckily fitness I think has just completely like knocked my anxiety out of the park for the most part. Which makes streaming a lot easier because I used to, you know, get really nervous about having this audience in front of me judging every little move I'm making in Ableton or like, you know, commenting on my appearance or like stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, oh, you look sick, you look tired, you look too skinny, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
With like, I'm really sensitive to that kind of stuff, you know, like
Mhm.
which sucks because like, you know, reading YouTube comments or SoundCloud comments on my music, you know, I put like hundreds of hours into working this song and I'm really proud of it. And then hearing someone just
There's
like,
always someone.
you're the worst,
Yeah.
die in a fire. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? I mean, like, come on, man, chill out. Like, I always like to like, you know, kill it with kindness and be like, hey, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy this one, man. I hope you like the next tune. You know, something like that. And I feel like they'll always come back like, wow, so thank you for responding. I was joking. I'm like, okay.
It's a weird joke, but okay.
It happens so much in the electronic music industry where someone will just like take a dump on a bigger artist and they reply like, why would you even say something like this? And they're like, so cool of you to respond. Like, love your music. Like, wow, nice
That's
backpedal.
crazy. Wow. It's good to hear that like someone like really big also here experiences that, because like for all our stuff, no matter what we do, there's just like there's always like 2 or 3 like haters in the comments like going for it.
Well, the thing is, the bigger and more successful you get, the more of that kind of energy you attract. And it's
Oh,
like
shit.
really sad that the internet nowadays is like just seeping with that kind of energy. And like I feel like on Twitter, it's getting worse and worse. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like injecting like politics and like everything that's going on recently, like it just fuels that fire. And it's just like people are getting so worked up. It's just so much more common to stumble upon these arguments or just like negative troll burner accounts that their sole purpose is just to make people feel terrible. So like the more you can mentally get yourself through, you know, like brushing stuff like that off, the happier you're going to be as a person. But it's so much easier said than done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So are you usually on social media, or do you like try to stay off that, or do you have like something that's like your favorite?
I use Twitter the most.
Mhm.
I always have. Like you know, I have really fun interacting with my fans on there, you know, like posting dumb content. Like I like to show my more like humorous side on there. And, you know, Instagram, I feel like is just like, how cool can I look?
That's
Which
like
is
the whole platform. Yeah.
which is like not really my thing. Like I feel like it doesn't really show who I am as a person as much as Twitter does. But like I've been trying to sneak more, you know, content like that on my Instagram that's less serious, which is like, you know, cool. But Twitter's what I use the most, and I use it a lot. I really use it more than I should. Even when I'm not posting, I'm like scrolling a lot, which is definitely unhealthy. Like I have that ridiculous addiction to my phone that is probably one of my worst like qualities about myself, that I feel really reliant on, you know, waking up, checking my social media, you know, even like about to take a shower, like I'm just sitting there like while the water's warming up, like looking at my phone nonstop, just so bad.
Same.
Yeah. We're just
Uh,
as bad. Yeah.
do you have there, I know like, at least on the iPhone there's like a setting you can turn on so you can see how much screen time you're like spending. Do you have that turned on?
Yeah, I have it like notify me like you're using this much more screen time, and I'll like
Ignore.
chill. It's like get out of here.
Yeah.
Don't want to hear it. But I'll chill on YouTube a lot too, and like watch,
Mm,
you know, Twitch highlights. Recently, you know, like I
yeah.
gotten a lot more into fitness, so I'm following a lot of fitness pages and like, what can I do to increase my form? What can I do to,
Mhm.
you know, push myself to exhaustion this much harder? What's good for my body type? What kind of diet can I be following? Like, there's just infinite knowledge on you know, the internet. So I do that side of, you know, social media, which like I
Mhm.
don't consider YouTube as much of a social media as like
Yeah.
Twitter and Instagram, but I spend a lot of time there too. And again, like I love just being a sponge that just soaks up as much information as possible.
Yeah.
Are you on TikTok?
I pop on occasionally and my friends send me like the banger content and I just go through my DMs and like do that. I've posted a few things myself and I probably will post more in the future, but it's
Yeah.
nothing I'm like focusing on. But it's there's some really good stuff on TikTok too.
Mhm.
I definitely agree about that about YouTube though. It's like the other ones are social media and they have this like unhealthy like kind of side of it. But YouTube's kind of like almost like educational, like almost academic sometimes, you know, like you getting facts and numbers. It's a little bit, I feel like it's a little bit outside of that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Until you dive into the comment section and it's
Then
just like
it's bad.
flame war in there.
It's fires.
But there's YouTube has been like a driving factor on like how these kids are getting just insane in production in like 2 years flat, like young 16, 17
Wow.
year old kids just making bangers because, you know, like back when I was going to Icon, this stuff wasn't available on Twitch and YouTube, and it was
Mhm.
mainly like, you know, a lot of people were more secretive, and it was like you had to
Mm.
get lessons to learn all these tricks. And now it's like, you want to know how to make this guy sound? Here it is. Here's the preset. Here's the rack. Here's the Ableton project. Blah blah blah. Like, it's really
Wow.
easy to get in there and like do that research and, you know, put your skills to the test than it was back in the day. So that's really cool. And I'm really deep into that side of YouTube as well. Like I'm constantly watching tutorials on music production stuff, and it helps me a lot when I'm uninspired, you know, to spark that flame of like, oh, this was a cool technique. I'm gonna go try that. And next thing I know, I'm like 4 hours into a track, like just sucked into it, which is like the hardest thing to spark as a creative like producer. is getting yourself into that song where you're like hooked and you're just powering out through it. And then there's days where you're just slamming your head into the keyboard and nothing you're doing is working. And you just got to like learn to step away and, you know, have that healthy creation or healthy relationship with creating and not stressing yourself out. And a lot of that would cause a lot of really gnarly, like self-doubt, which is, you know, again, something I struggle with and, you know, get better at every year, which is another thing that's just I can improve on. So I like that kind of stuff.
So so if you're, you know, you're trying to make some music, you're trying to go through your process and it's not working, will you step away for that day and just like reset?
I have like a checklist of things I'll do. Like when I'm having those issues, I find myself like opening Twitter or opening YouTube and like blah, blah, blah. And then I rest my ears and come back and listen to it. Sometimes I'll just, you know, start an idea, get 20 minutes into it, and I'm not clicking with it. Boom, scrap it, start something new. And if that's not working, you know, I won't like write a whole song. I'll just go like make some sounds or make some drums and whatever I can do to just have like a session. And even if you're leaving defeated, like you didn't have a good, you know, you didn't get anything out of it, you still like sat down and put the hours in. And there's a really sick book called The War of Art, which really goes into just dealing with resistance as an artist or any dealing with resistance, you know, going to the gym and just like having that mentality of like you know, just sitting down and like, you know, just putting any effort in at all, and that's a win. You know, like what if I wrote the worst song of my life, like I still sat down and, you know, conquered resistance, which is like at the end of the day a small win.
Hmm.
That's better than no win at all.
That's an amazing book title. I love that. The War
You
of
should
Art.
read it. Yeah, you'd like it. It's really it's a breeze. You get through it really quick, and it's one of those things that's like incredibly inspiring in any way you want to apply it. Like if you're you know, like an artist or like any sort of creative work, it even comes down to like creating content for anything. Like it'll really, you know, enlighten you to having a healthy relationship with, you know, dealing with that pushback of like, oh, I really don't want to do this. I know I should. Stuff like that.
The War of Art. I've written it down. I will be reading this.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're starting a book club.
Book club.
So back to video games a bit.
Yeah.
What did you think of Shadowlands?
Oh man.
Ooh.
It sucked me back in. Which is,
Yes.
you know, like every single expansion after like Wrath of the Lich King or so,
Yeah.
I would play and just be like, oh, this is it. Like I love it again. And then get to max level and, you know, I just get off and like play something else. But like a bunch of my friends and producer buddies like were grinding Shadowlands out, hit max level the night of release, like grinded till like 3 a.m, got,
Wow.
you know, and then I just loved it. And I got gear capped pretty much, was in a mythic raiding guild. Like I was in one of those guilds you have to like apply and like do an
Yes.
interview to get
What? That is sick.
well, I parsed as like top 98% warlock in the world, which is like really, you know,
That's
really
hard to do.
high. So I was like really stoked on that. Even when I checked like, oh, what are my ratings in Mythic Plus? Like I want to see where I stand against everyone else. And it was like legendary 98% on like every one. And I was like, damn, I'm like kind of crushing it right now. But I have as of like the past month, I just stepped away from it, you know, because I'm like kind of done all the content for this patch, so I'm gonna just wait for the next one. But I think they crushed it. I think they listened to what the community wanted. They found a really good balance of like, you know, it was almost getting like too pay to play at one point,
Yeah.
and they made it a little bit harder. Like the raids are a little more like mechanic intensive, and it was really nice like getting into raiding again and, you know, feeling like that 13-year-old me in Molten Core with everyone on Ventrilo, like
Ventrilo, yes.
super cool. I loved it. Really, really excited for the new content to release. It looks awesome.
Wait, are you Horde or Alliance?
I'm Horde. Yeah, I play.
No.
I play a female orc warlock. Yeah.
No.
You're like, we gotta end the podcast right here.
Yeah, I'm
We're gonna
sorry. Like
affiliate."
Pull
that
the
was
plug.
great, but yeah.
But I played Alliance growing up.
Okay.
Like I played a dwarf warrior for like. That's all I played. Like I always just like have that one character and go in.
You're like trying to smooth it over now. Nice.
Yeah.
Do
So
you have any mobile games? Like there's like called mobile PUBG. What's the other one that's popular? Chill. You were playing recently?
oh yeah.
Rifle something.
I totally forget.
Shadow Legends. Raid.
Oh my god.
Shadow
Raid.
Legends.
This podcast is actually sponsored by Raid.
They got us one time for one of our tournaments.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Been there, done
Raid
that.
taught
Yeah.
us. I love that phrase. Hearthstone. I play Hearthstone. I consider that a
Ooh.
mobile game.
Oh, nice.
And again, like I picked that up recently because some of my buddies were playing, found my old account, disenchanted all my legendaries and crafted like the meta deck and got legend in like a week. So
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I got like I technically got one win away from legend, then went on a 17 loss streak and uninstalled. So that's where we're at.
The worst. I got to rank 2. I never got to rank 1 or legend. I was doing secret pally, and everybody hated what I was doing. It was terrible.
I hate it. Yeah, that's funny. I actually recently was playing and played against Firebat, who's like a content creator for Hearthstone.
Oh, cool. I know Firebat.
And I saw him play and or I saw him pop up when I was playing when I was around rank 1, and I was like, no way. No way, it's him. And I pop on his Twitch and he's playing against me, and I stream sniped him and still lost.
I was gonna ask, was it close or was he just unreal?
It was close, and I was only audio stream sniping him, so I wasn't looking at the cards in his hand because I was on the phone. I was like, couldn't juggle back and forth, but he made quick work of me. I've been waiting for him to upload the YouTube video of it, but he never did. It's like,
catch the Twitch VOD.
So you were also into Heroes of the Storm for a while. What first got you into HOTS? Like, how'd you make that jump in there?
It was one of those games that like a friend showed me, and like I love gaming with my friends. Like it's one of my favorite things, and like I have that core group of friends that when we do find that game, you know, like Valheim, that new Viking game that came out, or like Phasmophobia, you know, games like that that are just so fun to get on Discord and play with your friends. And it was one of those things at Icon that my buddy, I think it was my buddy G-Rex, showed me, and we all just popped our laptops open and we're just messing around with it and had a lot of fun. Again, super casual for a bit, and then I got into like Kel'Thuzad, like try hard characters, like hitting these crazy combos. And I really loved it, and I was definitely like the best at it in my friend group. So I got like, you know, super into it, and I had like my buddy, you know, Lakadaka, my friend Dylan, who's another Icon Collective DJ who was like cracked back in the day before it was like really a big game and was like getting hit up by professional teams to run scrims with them and stuff. So he would come over and we would LAN at our pad with like a full 5 stack, and just like I love stuff like that. You know, I love like being able to enjoy a game with a group of friends that you're already like, you know, have a cool relationship outside of that. It's like the best way to play games, I think.
If you could tell the Blizzard devs one thing about HOTS, or you could change one thing, would you change anything, or what would you change?
That's tough. You know, I'm a little bit out of touch with the meta right now, but like having that inting teammate that like does 0 damage, 0 XP, just running it down mid, and then I'm losing like a bunch of rank points for that. Like it hurt. It hurt more than I could explain. And then I would just go on these. I just being hard stuck silver and knowing I'm so much better than that was like definitely the worst thing. Would you even playing with you, you'd be like, dude, you seem like you're like diamond level at least, and I'm just like getting dunked on by like these terrible.
You had really good plays. I feel like a lot of them were just like totally out of the silver league.
Yeah, the Sonya was getting there, man.
The Sonya was getting there.
Your video's out to
Do you follow esports at all?
Not as much as you would expect with how seriously I take
Yeah.
gaming, but I'll watch those big tournaments and games that I play. But for stuff like that, I'm almost just gonna wait and watch like the highlights and get the sweet
Mm.
sweet stuff, like
Yeah.
same with a lot of Twitch stuff. Like I follow streamers, but then I find myself watching more of their content on YouTube, and we didn't really get into Smash Bros, but that's another one of those games I just like got into the top 5% elite Smash like on all these characters and was like farming clips and content, and like got to the point where none of my friends even wanted to play with me because I'm going on these 40 win streaks and just like dunking on them, getting clips and like
Yeah.
getting all hype, and they're just like so demoralized. Like I'm like letting them like get a couple stocks off me, and then it's like, all right, time to just go nuts.
That's the
but like
best. What
That's how
Smash
I
was it?
feel.
What Smash Brothers was it?
Ultimate, yeah, the new one. I'm still like super into it. I follow a bunch of content creators for that, but I haven't been playing as much because it's just so broken online.
Hmm.
It's like I've never experienced the game with like worse, the game eats inputs. There's like terrible lag on the connection, and then there's people that make their own servers for Melee, a way older game, that run better than what Nintendo is giving us for Ultimate. And it's like, why don't you guys do
How?
something about this?
Yeah.
And there's people making emulators for the PC called Yuzu Parsec, where you can actually play like almost lagless offline Smash Bros. With someone online. And it's like, why do people have to go to this effort to play a fighting game like where there's frame data, like this attack takes 6 frames to come out and has this much hit stun, and like I was into like labbing stuff like that and knowing like true combos and this and that, and it's just like I would put so much time into it and then play online, and there's just a Samus running away from me shooting stuff, and I'm losing to them when I know I'm 20 times better player than them, and it would just make my stomach turn into lava.
That's so funny. That's such a gamer moment right there.
It really is, dude. There's no feeling to describe when you get that rage where you're like moving in your seat.
Yeah.
The absolute worst.
Yeah. Did you play the Smash Brothers back in the day?
I never got into it competitively until like Smash 4. Even then it was like I'm trying to remember the term of like there's like casual pro and then competitive trash. And I was like the casual pro, like where we had our 7 roommates or whatever, because we had this like huge house we lived in LA with like a bunch of other artists that went to Icon, and we all played Smash 4 together. And I, started like dipping into the tutorial content and watching like coaching lessons for the characters I played, and started, beating everyone really consistently. And then they started trying to get better. And that just kind of transferred over into Ultimate, like this is a fresh game. I have potential to get really good at this. I would like, do these 10-hour flights to China and just sit there like labbing a combo the whole time. And
Oh my God.
I love stuff like
That's
that.
amazing. Wow.
So I got really into it competitively around Smash Ultimate, but Smash 4 was kind of like that dipping my toes in scenario.
So how have you been able to balance like your music career, working out, and like gaming on the side? Like it sounds like you're a really busy person and then also just trying to like keep it all together. Like what's your average day like, and like what like tips and tricks do you have for people trying to manage it all?
I'd say like quarantine wise, I have a schedule I really like right now. And it's obviously flip flops a lot. Like recently, I bit off a little more than I can chew, like collaboration. Like I have a lot of music on my plate and stuff I have to deal with. And it's like, not like I can just chip away at this whenever I want, the inspiration has to be there. But the schedule I have right now, I'm just obsessed with. I wake up at 8-ish in the morning, have like a big breakfast, go to the gym around, 10, come back, take a cold shower, get all my calories in. I love cold showers, by the way, and like breathing exercises. They're huge for me stress wise.
Have you done the like ice baths or like those like legit ones where it's like a whole like
I
thing?
like cold immersion is
Yeah.
my jam. I'm really into the Wim Hof stuff, but I've never done the full ice bath. I really wanna do it.
Wow.
But yeah, I go straight from that into the studio and I just, if I'm not feeling inspired, I'll play some games. And like I've learned to not be hard on myself. Like sometimes I'd feel really guilty for like gaming for a day or two when it's like, what am I gonna do? Sometimes this sparks inspiration for me. But
Mhm.
basically outside of that, I just sit here for the rest of the day or like take my dog for a couple walks, skate around the block, stretch my back, stuff like that. But it always moves around based on like, if I have a show coming up, I have to, completely switch up the schedule. So
Yeah.
I take it one step at a time and just kind of assess the situation as it comes.
Hmm.
Mhm. Have you tried yoga?
I really should. I've done like a lot of yoga breathing stuff, but not like the
Mhm.
stretching and like I think I would love it. I stuff like that. I'm definitely gonna get into soon, I think.
Yeah. And that would I think that would really help too. Like the breathing techniques. I think that's one of like the probably like the top like benefit aside from like the poses or whatever is like just like the concentrating on the breathing, especially for people like us who are like super busy and always like just thinking about like what's next. It just
Uh-huh.
like helps to like pause and
Sid's a yoga instructor.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah.
So have you heard of the Wim
So
Hof breathing stuff before?
I don't know what that is.
Oh my
No.
god. Okay, so this is something I like preach. Like it's a really intense breathing exercise where you do like these super gnarly, like huge breath in, huge breath out, like to the point where you're like, getting intense, like feeling in your, fingertips and you feel it all over your body. And then
Uh-huh.
you
Wow.
take this long pause where, you like hold your breath for like a minute and a half. And then you take this giant breath in and you just like, it's incredible for like, you gotta look into this Wim Hof guy, it's insane, like, he does
Writing this
this
down.
he
Yeah.
does this breathing technique to, like, oxidize his blood and reduces his natural tolerance to stress, and has even, like, done this crazy science behind it where they're, like, injecting him with a virus, and he's boosting his immune system
Wow.
simultaneously with this breathing method, and he doesn't get sick. He can climb Mount Everest in his boxers, and, like, his body temperature is, like, not dropping because of this breathing stuff he's doing, and it's like, just try it one morning. There's an instructional YouTube video. You just follow his breathing techniques and like
Yeah.
breathe in through your stomach. And it's like almost hard to do, but when you do it, it's like an incredible, like blossoming, like feeling
I
like,
love that. Yeah, I think
oh,
I
you
would totally
Wow.
like that. Yeah,
please try it and let me know how
yeah.
you like it. Like
Wim
everyone
Hof,
I've had to
ooh.
do that and it pairs really well with cold immersion and it'll just do wonders for your like mentality and like
Yeah,
stress overall and you'll just feel so like refreshed. I'm
I
gonna
love
do
that
it
so
after this
much.
probably. It's
I
been a while.
know.
It's been
I
a
want
while since I've done it, so I gotta really get into it. It's like really aggressive, like like you breathe like that until you're like about to pass out, and then you like and you just hold it and you just like feel like in it's just an incredible feeling.
that's awesome 'cause it's definitely the breath that, like, gets you deeper into poses when you're doing, like, yoga. So,
Uh-huh.
like, I could totally see how that would be, like, super, like, opening, if you know what I mean, like, in your
Yeah, I
body,
I
yeah.
did this I did this one really cool, like, VR yoga thing where, like, it gives you, like,
Ooh,
visualizations with your breathing patterns, which was awesome. Really
what?
like that.
Wait, I have an Oculus. Is it like an app on the Oculus or something
Yeah,
like
yeah, I'm not sure what it's called, it's my sister's Oculus, I was just trying it out, but it's, like,
that?
should be pretty easy to find, like, breathing stuff.
That's so cool. I've been meaning to, like, use it more. All I did was, like I just play Beat Saber on it all the time. So, I like need to do more stuff on it. So cool, I'll look into that.
Yeah, there's a cool, like, guiding voice to it too, which is, like, really soothing.
Awesome.
Did this help you overcome your stomach troubles? Or
It was another one of those really big factors that, because the biggest thing for me, I didn't care about, feeling sick as much in my stomach. Like, that's fine. I can deal with that. This is a physical thing. Like, if I'm having stomach aches, I can work through that. But it was like chronic fatigue, and I had brain fog to the point where like I'd be driving home from somewhere and like forget the turns that I need to make. And I've lived here my
Mm.
whole life, like stuff like that, just like stumbling through my sentences, just like feeling like I'm at like 40 to 50% capacity in my brain. And I would
yeah,
do this Wim Hof breathing and it would just like blow the clouds away. Like I would just feel like a completely new person.
that sounds
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is like what they call like fire breath or something like that in like yoga, where you do like some type of like breathing like that, but it's not, it doesn't sound like anything intense like what you're talking about. So I'm like,
It's it's definitely the most intense breathing thing ever, but I know
yeah,
so many people that I've put onto it that like live by it now.
yeah, nice.
So I'm stoked to see what you guys think if you try it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys can like sync up, do it at the same time.
That'd be cool.
It's cool. I've gotten up to the point where like you're oxidizing yourself so much, you feel it like all throughout your blood. But I've gotten to the point where I was able to hold my breath like close to 3 minutes because you're like pumping all this oxygen. So
Whoa.
you're like over oxygen, like over pumping yourself with oxygen. And then you breathe out like all the way and you hold that breath for like as long as you can. And then you take this massive breath in and hold it. And it's just like crazy. I
Wow.
don't really know how to describe it scientifically that well, but I'll send you guys the instructional video for it.
Awesome. I'm
Awesome.
excited. I'm like always like focusing on my breath because it's like a weird like anxiety thing and it like freaks me out. But so like breathing stuff I like really enjoy. So I'm
Oh, I do
excited.
box breathing all the time. Like I'll be laying down and do that, 6 seconds in, hold for 6 seconds, 6 seconds, 6 seconds out, and just kind of follow that like box
Yeah.
breathing thing if I'm stressed out at night or like I used to like happen to me a lot where I was just laying down and I would like forget how to breathe properly and
Yeah.
feel like I need to like
Yes.
like force myself to breathe and then I'm like
Exactly.
feeling like I'm
Oh,
out of oxygen. Am I like, am I dying? Is this it?
that
Am
is so
I
funny.
good?
Yeah. I'll be like, "Am I breathing weird right now?" And I'm just like, "I need like just breathe normal."
It's so hard.
That's so funny.
Okay. All right. So that takes us to the hour. I don't want to take any more of your time. Um,
Yeah, no worries.
yeah.
That was a blast.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us. It was a ton of fun talking to you. Could you tell everyone like where to find you, where to find your music, where they could go?
Yeah, of course. All my socials like below are just at companymusic.com, like SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's all the same, which is great that I was able to snag all of those. But yeah, I mean, just keep an eye out for new releases, tour dates. If you guys ever want to come see me, if I'm in
Definitely.
your city, like I'm always down for that to have you guys out. Like anyone listening, let me know if you come through. I love coming out into the crowd and meeting people and getting to experience that URL to IRL connection is always really cool.
Yeah, that'd be so fun. Do you play in New York venues
Oh
once in a
yeah.
while?
Yeah, I've played there quite a bit, like Brooklyn. I played Izu, which is like a festival that happens out there that's
Yeah.
really cool. I'm trying to remember that one big venue in Brooklyn I played recently, on tour with Nightmare. A lot of them like blur together, but I can even like send you guys a little
Yeah, 100%. We're coming. Next time you're there, we're 100% coming.
Oh, for sure. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Portal tour. So where was it? Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the venue, but I can send you a picture of it.
Yeah.
You guys might know it. I know it's like a pretty famous one.
Is it the Barclays Center?
I'm gonna find it. I'm like so stubborn with stuff like this. I gotta find it.
No, you're totally good. All right, so my company looks. Sid, where can everybody find you?
Oh, it was the
I'm
Avant Gardner.
Oh, what was it?
Avant Gardner.
Avant Gardner. Okay, cool. I know that place.
You know it?
Yeah.
A big old warehouse.
Yeah, I actually went to like a warehouse concert there in like the end of high school. I shouldn't have been at that concert, but I did manage to sneak in. So it was fun.
Very cool. Very cool venue. I'll send you guys a little picture from that right now.
So I am at It's Me Sidkitten, all socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everything.
Good stuff.
And then
I gotta shoot you a follow too.
And then at Chillrogg, same thing, pretty much every except TikTok. I'm at Chillrogg too. I hate you,
Someone
TikTok.
tagged it. They want that paycheck, you know, pay $500 to get this back.
It's actually, yeah, it's my own fault. I like made a TikTok account and then I was like, forget it. And then I abandoned it. And then a year later I tried to get it back and it was hard.
Locked out of his own.
I'm like fighting with TikTok. They're winning. We'll see.
They're winning.
Oh,
awesome. Well, thank
right.
you guys again so much for having me.
This video is really cool. I'll put it in the video so anyone can see. If anyone wants to see the image of Kompany at this awesome Brooklyn venue, check out the YouTube video. All right, cool. All right, thanks a lot for joining us, and see everybody next week. Catch you later.
See ya.